Hi class, in this video we're going to go over the coronary circulation of the heart. So this is how the heart gets oxygen from its blood supply. Of course the heart also needs oxygen, it's an organ, right? It needs oxygen to its tissues as well as all of the other organs and tissues in the body, okay? I just wanted to point out one thing here that doesn't have to do with coronary circulation. This here is that ligamentum arteriosum, so that's the leftover structure from fetal circulation, where the pulmonary trunk was connected to the aorta. So I just wanted to point that out because I didn't in the PowerPoint. Down here I did draw a little flow chart for you for coronary circulation, so you could pause and just draw this out if you want. You should try to do this as you're studying, and then also get a blank picture of the heart and see if you could point out those arteries and veins, because you do need to know these for the lab practical on a model of the heart. So in lab you can try to label these on the model of the heart as well. Okay. So I'm just going to go back up here and go through that flow chart with some more details as well, so make sure you're listening. Okay. All right, so here is our aorta, right? This part is the ascending because it comes from the ventricle into the aorta, and then it descends to the rest of the body. So I'm just going to erase that, but we're starting here at the anterior aorta. Okay. Ascending aorta, which is also anterior, but okay, so from here we go to the right and left coronary artery. Okay, so there and there. So let's start with the right side. Okay, so from the right coronary artery we go to the marginal artery. So it just flows off here, right? And you can see branching because this supplies myocardium of the heart, okay? So mostly supplies to the right ventricle, right? It's found in this right ventricle area. So this is the anterior view, right, and posterior view of the heart, okay? So it supplies mostly to the myocardium of the right ventricle of the heart, okay? So it gives the myocardium oxygen, and then our oxygen poor blood needs to go through capillary system to the vein. So that's going to go to the small cardiac vein right in the same area here. Okay, so small cardiac vein. Okay. And then that small cardiac vein, which you can see on the posterior side over here, is going to bring the oxygen poor blood to the coronary sinus. So all the veins converge to the coronary sinus, and that empties into the right atrium, okay, where we have all of our oxygen poor blood from all of our other body tissues and from the heart itself. Okay, so back to the right coronary artery. From the right coronary artery, if we go back to the posterior view of the heart, we also go from the right coronary artery to the posterior interventricular artery right here. Okay, I'll underline it in purple down here. Okay, so this artery here, and then that supplies the myocardium on the posterior aspect of the heart. Okay, so once we drop off that oxygen, then it's going to go back through the middle cardiac vein. Okay, and then again that also leads to the coronary sinus, which empties into the right atrium of the heart. Okay, so now we're back at the left coronary artery. Okay, we have two things branching off that. So the first one we're going to talk about is the anterior interventricular artery. We'll call it that, sometimes referred to as the anterior descending artery as well. Okay, so that's this artery here. You can see it's connected to the left coronary. Okay, so it goes down, okay, and branches in all different ways. Okay, so this artery, this anterior interventricular artery, is the artery that most commonly gets plaques. Okay, it's also known as the widowmaker because the plaques that develop here can occlude or block blood flow to the surrounding myocardium and can lead to an MI, a myocardial infarction, or a heart attack. Okay, so just an interesting fact there. So this anterior interventricular artery supplies the interventricular septum, the left ventricle, and some of the right ventricle. Okay, so once we get oxygen into all those areas, then the oxygen poor blood is going to flow to the great cardiac vein, which is in the same area. So if you know one, then the other's right near it, right? So great cardiac vein. Okay. And then if we go around to the back here, that leads to the coronary sinus, of course, which empties into the right atrium. Okay. Okay, and then from our left coronary artery there, we also can go to the circumflex artery. Okay, so here, and it goes around to the back over here on the posterior view. Okay, where I just highlighted in purple. And to get a little bit more technical, right? When we get to blood vessels, we'll learn about this more. But we go from arteries to arterioles, which are smaller arteries that branch off. Okay, so these would be like arterioles. And then to the capillaries. So capillaries are where oxygen is exchanged and carbon dioxide is picked up. Okay, and then venules will come out of the myocardium into veins. Okay, so just so that you know kind of how that works there. So that would be for all of these that I'm discussing. Okay, arteries, arterioles, then to the capillary system where the gas exchange occurs, then venules, which are smaller aspects branching off from veins, and then veins. Okay, and then to the coronary sinus, to the right atrium. Okay, so this circumflex, back to the circumflex, okay, circumflex artery or circumflex branch here. This supplies the left atrium and some of the left ventricle. Okay. And then to the posterior vein of the left ventricle here. Okay. So coming off here. That, of course, then goes to the coronary sinus, right? And then that empties into the right atrium. Okay, so there's your coronary circulation. Make sure you know that. Again, feel free as you're studying, try to draw out this flow chart on your own, and that will really help you out.